My girlfriend's family kept comparing me to her ex. Then I overheard why he left her. Her mother looked me in the eye at Thanksgiving and said, "Beckett used to carve the turkey perfectly. He had such natural leadership." I smiled and passed the cranberry sauce. My girlfriend Rowan squeezed my hand under the table but said nothing. 9 months in, I still thought it would get better. I'm a wildlife rehabilitation specialist at Blue Ridge Wildlife Refuge in Asheville, North Carolina. Injured hawks, orphaned foxes, occasional bear cubs. Rowan is an elementary teacher in Charlotte. We met last February at a brewery. Connection felt easy. She understood my weird hours, never made me feel less important. But her family lived in Charlotte. Wealthy suburban neighborhood, luxury SUVs, constant achievement talk. From first meeting, they made clear I wasn't their choice. Comparisons started immediately. Beckett this, Beckett that. Her ex, a physical therapist and former college athlete they adored. They kept framed photos of Rowan and Beckett on the living room piano, not hidden, displayed next to current family portraits. When I first noticed them during a Sunday brunch, I figured they would come down eventually. They never did. Every monthly trip brought new jabs. My Subaru Outback mocked compared to Beckett's Silverado 1500. My career labeled cute but unstable, like working with animals was a hobby instead of a profession. Her father once said during a dinner about retirement planning that Rowan had been happier before, more settled, more ambitious. She was sitting right there across from me, apologetic look, but no defense, not once in 9 months. Thanksgiving was brutal beyond the turkey comment. Her brother spent 20 minutes talking about how Beckett always knew which wines to bring for each course, how he understood investment portfolios and could discuss market trends, how he fit in naturally at the country club tennis matches. I excused myself to walk their golden retrievers just to escape the dining room pressure. When I came back 30 minutes later, they were scrolling through old photos on someone's iPhone, laughing about some Hilton Head vacation Beckett had apparently organized down to the last detail. The breaking point started at Rowan's 30th birthday in early December. Upscale steakhouse her parents chose, the kind where the menu doesn't list prices and everyone orders cocktails that cost $18 each. A longtime family friend named Jane had too much wine, 3 glasses of Chardonnay by my count, and suddenly blurted out across the table, "Have you told him you're still close to Beckett?" Complete silence. Fork on plate silence. Rowan's face turned bright red. She changed the subject fast, talking about school and her kindergarten class, but the damage was done. That question hung over the rest of dinner. Driving back to Asheville that night, 90 minutes on dark mountain highways, I asked directly, "Why did you and Beckett actually break up?" Long silence, white knuckle gripping the wheel. Finally she admitted no dramatic falling out, no cheating, no big fight. She just wasn't ready for marriage when he proposed 2 years ago. Her family never accepted it, stayed friendly with him, invited him to events year-round, kept hoping she'd change her mind and come to her senses. I asked if she was still in contact. "Occasionally," she said. "Friendly check-ins every few months, nothing serious, nothing romantic." I felt like a placeholder. Christmas weekend destroyed everything. Her family booked me in the guest room, not her bedroom like before. Her mother explained Beckett would stop by as tradition, wanted everyone comfortable. They invited her ex to Christmas weekend while I was there. He showed up Saturday afternoon, tall, confident, expensive watch, hugged Rowan like they were still together, inside jokes with her brother, sports with her father. They lit up around him. After an hour, her mother asked me to take the dogs for a longer walk so they could catch up properly. Not a request, a dismissal. I walked those dogs 90 minutes in freezing cold, circling the neighborhood, processing. When I returned, Beckett was leaving. Polite nod, told Rowan it was great seeing her, drove away in that Silverado. That night, I told Rowan we needed to talk. "Your family isn't comparing me to your ex. They're keeping the door open for him. And you're letting them." She cried, hated confrontation, wanted everyone to get along. I set a boundary. "If you don't shut this down immediately and make clear I'm your partner, I'm done." She looked at me, tears streaming. "I can't confront them. I just can't." I left, packed, drove to Asheville that night, ended it the next morning by phone. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, but I knew I deserved better. Here's the twist. An hour after our breakup call, I realized I'd left my charger at her apartment. Drove over, knocked, no answer. Used my key. Heard her on the phone in the bedroom, crying. I caught enough to know she'd immediately called Beckett. His voice through speakerphone. "Rowan, I'm in a serious relationship now. I'm not doing this again. Your family is too involved. That's why I left in the first place. I'm sorry, but no." She was sobbing, trying to convince him to talk, to consider another chance. He was firm. He cared but had moved on. Her family's inability to respect boundaries was exactly why their relationship failed. I left the charger on the counter and walked out. The family had been idolizing a man who wanted nothing to do with their chaos. Update 1. 2 days after the breakup, Rowan's father called. Not to apologize, to tell me to fix this, be a man, work through challenges. I said I left because I wasn't respected. He hung up. Then her brother started texting, long paragraphs about how I had hurt his sister, how I clearly didn't understand what commitment meant, how Beckett would have handled things with more maturity. The messages came at all hours. 2 in the morning, during my lunch break, while I was literally hand-feeding an injured owl, each one more aggressive than the last. I blocked his number after the 5th message, but the damage to my peace of mind was already done. Her mother left me a voicemail that I must have listened to 3 times just to process the audacity. She said that Rowan had made a mistake, that love requires forgiveness, and that I should reconsider before I lost something good. Her voice was sweet, almost condescending, like she was explaining basic math to a child. The irony of her talking about respect and commitment while literally inviting her daughter's ex-boyfriend to family holidays was apparently lost on her. I saved the voicemail just in case I needed documentation later. I stayed firm. I went back to my normal routine at the refuge, threw myself completely into work. We were caring for 3 juvenile red-tailed hawks recovering from wing injuries and a fox kit with a compound fracture in its left hind leg. The simplicity of it felt like medicine after all the emotional chaos. Animals don't play mind games or make you prove your worth. They heal or they don't, and you do everything in your power to help them along. Then things escalated in a way I never saw coming. About 3 weeks after the breakup, my director called me into her office. She looked uncomfortable, kept adjusting her glasses, wouldn't make eye contact at first. She explained that the refuge had received 2 anonymous complaints through our public contact form. Both claimed I was mishandling animals, that I seemed emotionally unstable after a recent breakup, and that someone should investigate my fitness for the role. One specifically mentioned that I might be taking out personal frustrations on the animals in my care. I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. Anyone who knows me understands that my work is sacred. I've dedicated my entire adult life to wildlife rehabilitation. The idea that someone would weaponize that, would try to destroy the one thing I've built my identity around, made me physically sick. My director knows me. She's worked with me for 6 years. She didn't believe the complaints for a second, but she had to take them seriously because they were submitted formally through official channels. She pulled the IP address metadata from the form submissions, worked with our IT contractor to trace the source. Both complaints came from the same neighborhood in Charlotte, the same zip code as Rowan's parents, same internet service provider, submitted 12 hours apart on a Tuesday afternoon. They had tried to get me fired. I felt my hands shaking when she told me. My vision actually blurred for a second. These people didn't just disrespect me at family dinners or exclude me from conversations. They tried to destroy my career, my reputation, everything I had worked for, because I wouldn't take their daughter back and play my part in their fantasy reconciliation. My director assured me the complaints were baseless, that my record was spotless, and that she was documenting everything in case this turned into a legal matter. She advised me to keep all communications and consider a restraining order if the harassment continued. I didn't respond to any of their messages after that. Radio silence, complete cutoff. About a week later, a letter arrived at my apartment, handwritten on cream-colored stationery, 6 pages front and back, from Rowan. No attempts to justify her family's behavior or make excuses for what happened. Just raw, painful honesty. She wrote that she had spent her entire life afraid of disappointing her parents, that every decision she made was filtered through what they would think or approve of. She admitted she had used me as a shield from their relentless pressure about getting back together with Beckett, and that she had failed me in every way that actually mattered in a relationship. She said, "I didn't protect you because I never learned to protect myself. I watched them steamroll every single boundary I ever tried to set since I was a teenager, and I just went along with it because fighting back felt impossible. You deserved a partner who would stand beside you without hesitation, and I was too scared to be that person." She didn't ask me to take her back, didn't beg for another chance or make promises about changing. She just apologized with brutal self-awareness and said she understood completely why I left. She ended the letter saying she was starting therapy twice a week and trying to figure out who she was outside of her family's crushing expectations. I read that letter 3 times. Part of me felt vindicated. Part of me just felt sad for her, but I didn't respond. Some bridges burn for good reason. Update 2. I wasn't planning to post again, but something happened that completely reframed everything I thought I understood about this situation. A lot of you in the comments said Rowan was fully complicit, that she knew exactly what her family was doing, and went along with it willingly. I'm not here to defend her choices, but I need to share what I recently learned because it genuinely changes the story in ways I didn't expect. About 6 weeks after my last update, sometime in mid-April, I got a message on social media from someone named Mara. She introduced herself as Rowan's college roommate and best friend for over a decade. She said she had been following the situation from Rowan's side, watching everything unfold, and there was something critical I needed to know. Something Rowan herself had only discovered recently that explained so much of what happened. We met for coffee in Asheville at a small place downtown, one of those independent shops with mismatched furniture and local art on the walls. Mara was nervous, kept apologizing for getting involved, stirring her latte without drinking it. But she said her conscience wouldn't let her stay quiet. She told me that Rowan's family had been secretly inviting Beckett to events for over a year, not just the Christmas visit I witnessed. They had coordinated birthday dinners, casual Sunday brunches, even a summer barbecue at their lake house, all without telling Rowan in advance. They would just casually mention he might stop by, and then act surprised when he showed up. Rowan thought these were coincidences. She thought Beckett was just being friendly, maintaining connections with people he had known for years through her. She didn't realize her family was orchestrating an entire reconciliation campaign behind her back. Mara said Rowan only found out the full extent about 3 weeks ago when her mother let something slip during an argument about boundaries. Mara showed me text screenshots on her phone, scrolling through months of messages. Conversations between Rowan and her mother from way back, even before I entered the picture. Messages where her mother was relentlessly pushing her to reconsider Beckett, saying things like, "He's been asking about you," and "Some decisions deserve second chances, and you were so happy with him, sweetheart." I felt sick reading them. The manipulation had been going on for years, long before I was even a factor. 2 days after my conversation with Mara, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. It was Beckett. The message was straightforward, almost businesslike. He said, "Hey man, I heard things went south with Rowan. I wanted to reach out because her family tried to get us back together starting last spring, maybe even earlier. I said no every time. I'm in a serious relationship and I have been for 2 years. We're actually engaged now. They're holding on to some fantasy version of Rowan's past that doesn't exist anymore. Just thought you should know you weren't paranoid. They really were playing games. Sorry you got caught in their mess." I stared at that message for a long time, reading it over and over. He confirmed everything. He was engaged to someone else, had been for months, and the family was still trying to force a reunion that would never happen. The family had been running an elaborate campaign to break us up and push Rowan back toward Beckett, who wanted absolutely nothing to do with it and never had. I wasn't competing with an ex-boyfriend. I was fighting a delusion they refused to let go of. I thanked him for reaching out and wished him well. He seemed like a decent guy who had escaped the same trap I eventually walked into. Rowan sent me one final message about a month ago, early March when the weather was just starting to warm up. She had moved out of her parents' house and into a small apartment with Mara near the university. She cut off almost all contact with her family for several weeks, started intensive therapy twice a week with someone who specializes in family systems and enmeshment, and was trying to rebuild her sense of self from the ground up. She wrote, "I'm not asking to get back together. I don't expect forgiveness or even a response. I just want you to know that I finally see what they did to both of us. You were right about everything. I was so deep in their control I couldn't even see it happening." I appreciated the honesty, but I still kept my distance. Some damage can't be undone, no matter how much clarity comes later. Final update. It's been 6 months, and I think it's time to close this chapter. I'm dating someone new. Lily, 33. Watercolor artist near a mountain lake 20 minutes from Asheville. We met at a wildlife fundraiser in April where she painted live demonstrations. Quiet, thoughtful, unbothered by my schedule. Her family is in Tennessee. When I met them last month, they asked genuine questions about raptor rehabilitation, told me how much they respected my work. No comparisons, no ex-nostalgia, just basic decency. Being with Lily showed me just how exhausting it had been to constantly justify my existence in Rowan's world. I didn't fully realize until I was out of it how much energy I was spending every single day trying to prove I was good enough, trying to earn approval that was never going to come. With Lily, I just exist as I am. And that's not only enough but celebrated. It's the difference between drowning and breathing. I ran into Rowan 3 weeks ago at the downtown farmers market. I'd just bought apples and honey, turned around, and there she was. Awkward for 5 seconds, then neutral. She looked healthier, shorter hair, different clothes, more confident posture. Alone, no family. We talked 10 minutes near the music stage. Still in therapy twice weekly, hard boundaries with parents, slowly rebuilding on her terms. Supervised visits in public, no personal discussions, clear consequences. Seeing someone casually, a teacher, taking it slow, being honest about her history up front. Then she said something that stuck with me. "I loved you, but I didn't protect you. I'm learning how to do that now, how to protect the people I care about, starting with myself." I told her, "I hope your next partner never has to ask for basic respect. I hope you've learned to give that freely." There was no anger in my voice, no bitterness, just truth. She nodded, said she hoped I was happy, and we went our separate ways. It felt like closure without dramatics. Here's what surprised me. Her family invited her for Easter, their first reconciliation attempt after months of minimal contact. Formal invitation in the mail, handwritten by her mother, about family healing. She said no. Wrote back saying if they couldn't respect her choices and treat her partners with dignity, they didn't get access anymore. They lost it. Mother called crying, father sent angry emails about loyalty, brother accused her of being selfish. Said she was choosing pride over family, would regret cutting them out. She held firm. They lost both control and the man they'd tried forcing back. Beckett was engaged to someone else. I'd moved on. Rowan finally stopped letting them decide who she should be. Last weekend, I hosted an outdoor movie fundraiser for the Refuge, nature documentary under the stars, 200 chairs, 3 food trucks, perfect weather. Raised $8,000 for medical supplies. Lily helped with projection and introduced me to her artist friends. Easy, joyful, exactly right. Rowan showed up, stayed in back, didn't approach, donated $50, watched quietly, left. Mara said later Rowan wanted to support the Refuge without making it weird. I respected that. I've thought a lot about what this taught me. Some endings aren't about revenge or dramatic confrontations. They're about recognizing when you've outgrown the version of yourself who tolerated too little. I spent 9 months trying to earn approval from people who were never going to give it, and walking away was the only way to remember my own worth. I'm not angry at Rowan anymore. She was trapped in a toxic family system, and breaking free takes tremendous courage. I'm glad she's doing the work, but I don't regret leaving. Some people show you exactly what you don't want, and that's valuable. I'm happy now. Genuinely, quietly happy. The kind that doesn't need proving. I wake up with someone who finds my job fascinating. I spend time with her family without being measured. I do work I love without questions about respectability. If you're in a relationship where you're constantly earning basic respect, being compared to someone else, where your partner won't defend you, find strength to walk away. You deserve better than second choice. You deserve better than fighting a ghost. You deserve a partner who stands beside you without being asked.